Hi, my name is Kia Howard, junior psychology major at Dillon University, and this is my learning research project. We had the opportunity to decide whether we wanted to learn a new skill or eliminate a bad habit. Well, I learned a new skill. The new skill that I learned was how to retwist dreads. So, with this process, I use the Anderson's Act theory, which is adaptive control of thought, as well as the power of law technique. So, why did I choose this topic, which is how to retwist dreads? Well, the reason why I chose this topic is because I am a college student, and college students become creative and they come up with their own side hustle, I would say. So you have a lot of people on campus who does braids, haircuts, maybe twist outs, natural hairstyles, sew-ins, weaves, wigs, and do nails as well. So I was wondering, well, I want to have a side hustle because all I do is I don't have time to get a job on campus to make any money because I'm a student athlete and I play 2 sports, which is track and cheer. So I have no time in the day at all or any other days to get a job. So I decided, well, maybe I can do something on the side, but what can I do? And what can I do that'll get people to come to me and not go to anybody else who's already doing it? So I noticed on campus that I have a lot of colleagues, men and women, who have dreads, and their dreads look unkempt. No offense. But like in the beginning of the year, their hair may be neat and look like it has been done and tended to, but then as the weeks go by, their hair kind of looks kind of wild and they don't really know what to do with it. They just put it in a ponytail or they wear hats or scarves or something, and you can tell that they kind of probably wish that they had their hair done. So I thought maybe, well, I want to learn how to retwist dreads because I don't have to get technical. Like, it can't be that hard. All you're doing is just twisting a dread and making it tighter and putting a little product on it that some people can't do because it's probably hard for them to see in the back of their head to part it and stuff. So I'm like, that's something easy that I can do and to help people on my campus, because it's a major thing about self-esteem, especially on campus. And a lot of people, when they get their hair done, it could boost their self-esteem because it boosts mine. It's like when my hair is not done, it's like you go through depression. When your nails are not done, as in we're in quarantine, hair not done, eyebrows are not done. Oh, and also another side hustle that a lot of people have is they do lashes, their lash techs. But either way it go, with all these essentials, these minor essentials done, you kind of go through a slight depression, you feel ugly, etc. So I felt, well, people on campus, they see everyone else getting their hair done. They don't have anyone to go get their hair done from because maybe they're from out of state and they don't know anyone in the local area to get their hair done. Besides, I haven't seen anyone who constantly gets their dreads retwisted. So that's the reason why I decided that I wanted to do that. Along with my dad has dreads. He never lets me play in his head. And my best friend, she decided to start growing dreads, start her journey with dreads. So it was easy for me to also, with her being at school as well and not having anyone to do her hair, I can learn how to do it and help her out. And she can go along with her dread process, which has been amazing. So moving on to the history of dreads. Well, they can have different titles. You have dreadlocks, dreads, or locks, whichever someone feels that they feel like calling it. Dreads are sections of hair that have not been combed or brushed through at all. The hair is matted and knotted together, and by this time, that's where it forms the style of a dread. The origin of this hairstyle, the origin of dreads, it varies depending on who you ask. So sources claim that in India, the deity Shiva, which is the creator or supreme being of Hinduism, wore them as long as his followers, as well as other ethnicities have been known to wear dreads as well, such as Vikings, Romans, and German tribes. However, the first archaeological proof of people wearing dreads came from mummies discovered in Egypt. And as we all know, When we think of dreads, we know we like, oh, that's an African American thing, that's a black thing, Rasta, and things of that such. Dreads also have a biblical symbolization. Samson in the Bible was said to have 7 locks of hair, which gave him strength of spirit and conviction. His dreadlocks gave him strength to not be like any other man, weak and full of doubt and temptation. So, with my theoretical framework, I chose the Anderson Ag theory, which is adaptive control, as well as power of law technique. So I know this is the next section of my paper, but I would like to get into the methods section first and lay out everything that I went through, and then go back after that and tell you about my theoretical framework and how I applied it to that. So moving right along to the methods section, because I want to explain everything that happened and what I did, and then go back and reflect within my theoretical framework how I applied the theories to what happened. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the method. So I watched videos on YouTube to help demonstrate and teach me how to retwist dreads. I did 2 different styles. I did a basic dread retwist and the 2-strand double twist. So I had 4 participants helping me with this experiment. There were 3 male participants and 1 female participant. Each participant had their own unique style of dreads. The first participant had short, fat dreads, which were kind of easy to work with because his parts were pretty much even. The second participant had his dreads started off originally as like twists. Like if I just sat here and twisted my hair like this, that's how his hair started off. And of course that can easily unravel, but he never went back to undo them. He just let them lock up. And as I said before, dreads are when hair becomes matted together and knotted together, and that forms a dread. So that's what he let get done to his hair. So his parts were uneven, and they were all different shapes and sizes. The third participant had long dreads, and then the fourth which were like medium size, and then the fourth participant had a lot of dreads, but they were small and shoulder length. So the materials that were used in this experiment was Eco Styler Gel, Jamaican Mango and Lime Resistant Formula Locking Gel, Mary's Gel Lock, hair clips, rubber bands, a rat tail comb, a twist tie, and other materials for preparation such as shampoo, conditioner, and a dry towel. So the first step to retwisting dreads is making sure that the dreads are clean. So I washed the dreads, I washed their hair. The first step of washing is to just let the water run on their head and then dry. Let the water run on their head and get like any residue or existing dirt out of it. And then the second step to washing is to go ahead and shampoo the hair. So you wash the hair, you wash it, and then you rinse that out. And then the second round is to like kind of really get in there. You're scratching at the scalp, and you're making sure you're getting the roots and getting the product all throughout the scalp and the rest of the hair. You rinse that out. Then the fourth wash is the conditioner, which loosens up the hair and makes it soft, easier to work with. But during the washing process, you have to take each individual dread and wash them individually so you can make sure that they're all getting clean. And it's not as easy as just washing your regular hair where you just like kind of doing this and the soap is getting there. You have to separate each dread and wash them individually just to make sure that you don't want them to have dirty hair and it starts stinking. So after the wash, you just put a dry towel on the head and then move them to a chair somewhere they can sit so you can go ahead and begin the process. And the towel is to not fully dry their hair, but it's to get it down, because you don't want it soaking wet, dripping all down their back and on your hands, but you do want it down while you're doing a retwist. You don't want it to be dry. You want it to have some type of moisture. So first I did a basic retwist. So a basic dread retwist I use the technique of palm rolling. So you have, I'll use this for example as a dread. You put your hands together and then you take the dread and you do like this. But you kind of want to rotate to one side, which I chose to rotate my dreads counterclockwise because that gives them a tighter lock and it's going away from their face versus going toward their face where it can unravel easily. So after you get a good amount of product, as the products that I mentioned before in the materials, you get a good amount of product and you put it onto the root of their hair, and then you begin to twist, and then once you get from the root, you twist, and then you start rolling the hair in your palm. And then once you get it all the way tight, you get a clip and then you place it on there to hold it in place, because you want them to stay held in place so they can be at their tightest when you're done with the entire process. But before you even begin to apply the product and start twisting the hair, you want to take the towel off of the hair, pull it all up into one ponytail and put one big scrunchie on it so it can still stay held in place. And then you want to start in the back with your rat tail comb, which is at the end you're using it. You go ahead and like part the hair off and section it out. You want to do this in horizontal rows because it's easier for you to just go up the head, go up until you get to the top. So that's the technique that I use, and I use the palm rolling technique to get the dreads retwisted. And once you do that to each dread, you just keep going up, and then after the whole process, you can take the clips out, or you can let the client will decide if they want to leave the clips in or they want to go ahead and take them out. So the next style that I did was a 2-strand twist. So the researcher performed 2-strand twist. The next style I decided to do was the 2-strand twist. The next style I decided to do was the 2-strand twist. With this style, you repeat the same steps that you did with the basic retwist. So you put, after you wash the hair and you put the dry towel on it to get it damp, you take the towel off, put it around their neck, pull the hair up into one ponytail, and then you go ahead and get you one row horizontally. You want to start at the back and work your way up because that's the easiest way. And with this, you do the same technique that you did in the basic retwist. So you put the product onto the dread and you twist it, put the clip on and tighten it, and then you do the next one. Now with the 2-strand twist, yes, we're going to use 2 dreads. So after you retwist it and tighten it, you grab them, take the clips off of those 2, and then you twist those 2 together. And then you twist it all the way down, and then you grab your rubber band and you put it at the end so you can hold that in place. And then you proceed to put the clip back onto the twist so it can remain tight. And you do this process throughout the whole entire head as well. So with my results, I began this experiment in January of 2020. I had 4 participants. So with each participant, I did their dreads twice in 1 month. So this is a lot of experience that I'm getting. So in January, I did their hair for like maybe the beginning of when we got back to school. So that was about January 7th, January 14th, something like that. Whenever we got back to school, I did one of my first client's hair. And then before the last week of January, I did theirs again. And I repeated this process each month with each of my 4 clients. So with the outcomes, my first researcher, I had to start over. I went through the process the first time. I had to start over because I didn't do it tight enough. The dreads were unraveling and I didn't want to go the whole process of doing their hair and they weren't going to last less than 5 minutes of me doing their hair. So I went back through and I did them according to how the video told me to do, and then it was better. And that participant had just only gotten a basic retwist, but they said, that was my first time doing it, but they said that their hair began to unravel and get loosened maybe within a couple of days. The second retwist that I did was the same results. I retwisted their hair, and this one was more difficult because this was the one with the uneven parts and different length dreads that were started off as twists before they were officially dreads. So it was kind of difficult trying to section off the hair and make it even because the parts were already uneven, and it's not hair where you can just brush through and separate it. It's locked together, so you have to really be careful and not tear their hair out of their heads. But I ended up getting through it, but his retwist didn't last more than a week as well. So when I got to the third client, which was my third outcome of this process, these were the one with the long, well, I said client, I meant participant. He was the one with super long dreads. So his leg dreads were about this length. It was about this length. And I had never worked with long dreads before, but so it was kind of it was way more difficult than the short ones. The short ones, you just right there and you're done. But the long dreads, you have to go for a long time. Your arms start to hurt, your back start hurting because you're standing up doing it. So it was very difficult. And sometimes your clients fall asleep in the chair, so you gotta hold their head up, tell them to get up, and all type of stuff. But the longer dreads were a lot difficult, and on the longer dreads, I performed a 2-strand twist, and which is where you grab 2 after you retwist. You grab 2 and you twist them together. Well, these were long, so it had way more room to unravel from the root to the tip. It had way more room to come loose, and I didn't do it properly because that was my first attempt at the 2-strand twist. And he said that his didn't last more than 2 days. With the fourth client, by this time I have practiced and practiced and practiced on different lengths, different sizes. So by the time I got to this fourth client, I was like, okay, everything that I learned doing their hair and the whole experience that I had with their hair and the feedback that they've given me, I'm going to try different this time, and I'm going to try to do different things in order to let your hair last longer, because I cannot charge people for my services and they're not getting their money's worth. So with the fourth client, I sort of mastered the skill. With the retwist, they were neat. You could see all through her scalp, and she said that they lasted at least 2 weeks or a week and a half. And then I also performed a 2-strand twist on her as well, and they lasted a great amount of time too, until she decided to take them out. And she said that her hair grew with the process, so she was able to put it up into a ponytail. In my theoretical framework, I chose to use the power of law as well as Anderson's Act theory. The power of law shows that one's ability to do something may improve dramatically during initial practice session, but over time, improvement in a skill is much more gradual. My first attempt at retwisting dreads was January of 2020, which is this current year. I had 4 different participants, and I worked on each of them twice within each month. So I had more than enough practice to get familiar with this task and for it to become habitual, I would say, maybe. So each time I practiced in someone's head, I gained more experience. With retwisting dreads, there are at least 100 dreads individually in each head or more. So with the power of law stating that you get you improve dramatically during an initial practice session. With it being so many dreads and you starting from the back of the head, at least till when you get to about mid-head, still doing the same process, you don't even have to look and see what you're doing anymore. You can literally just look away, grab some product, put it on the dread, twist it, put the clip on. It becomes remote what you're doing. So that's a plus, as well as practicing over and over and over again also always makes perfect, as well as feedback. Feedback is very important. Once I've completed someone's head and they tell me how it looks, tell me how it feels, and then the next day tell me if it's still holding up, and then over a couple of days they tell me how long it's lasting or when it starts to look rough again. So that helped with each process. When I started the 2-strand twist and I did it and clients said that they were unraveling the second day, I learned that I should do it a different way. I should tighten it more and put the rubber band up more. So this is more experience that is improving my skill. just from practice and feedback. For Anderson's ACT theory, which is adaptive control of thought, which requires 3 stages. In the first stage is the declarative stage of knowledge, where novices continually process relevant information. So during this stage, I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm learning what they're doing, I'm seeing what they're doing, and I'm retaining this information so I can go practice it on my participant. So the second stage is the transition-based knowledge complication period, where declarative information begins to become proceduralized with similar concepts to increase one's efficiency. So at this point, I have watched the videos and learned what I needed to do, and now it's time for me to apply the information on the participant's head and so forth. And I finish that client, I go to the next one and I try again and again and again. This is me demonstrating what I've learned through the video. And the third and final stage is the procedural stage, where skills are refined and expertise emerges. So within this stage, I have practiced this almost 1,000 times. And so the quality of my work is getting better. The quality of the skill is getting better. I'm able to give advice to the participants, because this is where my expertise comes into place. With all the feedback that I get from each client, I take that and I apply it to the next time I try, and I look at more videos to increase my skill knowledge. So in conclusion, I have learned how to retwist dreads and do double strand twists, and I've gotten better at it. So I've gotten to the point where I can charge people now and make money from learning this new skill. So this was a greatly appreciated opportunity from you, Dr. Gibbs, to actually get myself outside of my comfort zone and try something new. With this experience, I was able to gain knowledge of how to apply theories into learning, because it makes learning easier. Once you see the theory and you see that the steps that you should follow, it helps you actually not even thinking. It helps you get better at whatever it is you're trying to do. So now I'm able to have already gained that experience as a beginner dread retwister. So now I'm going to take this experience and I'm going to try more difficult tasks, as in 3-strand twist, or braiding it to the scalp, and or starting them off for people and learning how to tell them how to care for their dreads and keep them healthy. So I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope you're enjoying your quarantine and you're being safe. Thank you.